The Search Podcast USA Edition series is sponsored by Ascen. Ascen is a top employer of record in North America that exclusively helps staffing and recruitment agencies hire contractors compliantly throughout the US and Canada. Ascen's all-in-one white-label platform handles onboarding, timesheets, payroll, benefits, insurance, invoicing, and optional financing so you can grow quickly in the US and Canada. Start growing your staffing agency in the US today with Ascen. Visit us at ascen.com.
People don't know you, they're not going to be as likely to accept your request. If you're not delivering value, they're not going to be as likely to respond to what you're saying. So my personal thought is I think you've got to be a lot more intentional. And I think even like understanding like how to go to like, meetups and events. I'm seeing a lot more of that type of activity as well. And like I know like Greg Savage, I follow him and like he's always talking about this, like going and actually like meeting clients or going and going to events where your clients are going to be spending time or prospects are going to be spending time and getting time in with that. I think that's going to become more and more relevant, and it already is that way, but I think it's just going to go more that way. And I think if you're messaging people, if you're reaching out to them cold, um, you've got to have some level of like reason for reaching out to people because just everyone's inboxes are flooded.
Market is really exciting. There's so much opportunity and so much to go after out there. I think when the recruitment market was really booming in 2022, I think something like 72% of open fintech roles in retail banking came from the US. So that kind of just gives you an indication of how big the market is.
That's been our journey. You go over and everyone goes, average recruiters in the UK will become great recruiters in the US. It is. It's a lot more difficult than that, right? Yes, the size of market is a lot bigger. The speed of the market is faster. The size of every deal because of salaries is better, and you can trade quite aggressively. But you've got to tune into that market where the starting point is honestly, they'll be polite to you, but they don't really care who you are until you actually show them some product. And you've got to get that into your psyche. We Brits, to caricature and characterize an entire nation of recruiters, we like to play by the rules, right? We kind of do what we're told. Very usefully, TA tells us to do something, or pootle away and go and do something. By the time we've done it in the States, someone's already beaten you because they're faster, hungrier, more aggressive, gets the answer.
Industry, it takes that time to really identify who your clients are and who you work with. And, it's a journey at the same time. But I think everyone gets excited about the US and the opportunity that's there, that they think they're going to make loads of money straight away. And it's really not that easy.
Yeah, no, it's not. And, there's a lot of people doing it. A lot of people now considering coming into the market. Yeah. Obviously, with remote working, a lot more people have a better opportunity to go and do the US market. Even speaking to clients that we work with, they've said that it feels like there's more of another British invasion of us coming along. I mean, the one thing that I would say, though, however, is I think the British recruiters are generally very good from what I've seen to the common market over here. We've been doing it for longer. It's a much more competitive market in the UK specifically.
For LinkedIn, and I made some predictions, and I was like, look, if I make these predictions, I don't do anything about it. I'm a hypocrite, basically. So I was like, what's next? And there was this moment that everybody heard about and saw, the kind of ChatGPT moment. But what actually happened in the AI industry is the models got a lot better and a lot more effective in being able to do certain things around trawling through large amounts of data. So we were using it internally. We were using it in our delivery team to deliver to clients, and our clients happen to be recruiting firms as well. I thought, well, if we can do it internally, can we productize some parts of it? It started very, very basically, like just by creating jobs.
Also, it's really hard. You're running a business in, let's say, in the UK, and then you're trying to also build a business in the US. Essentially, what you're doing is you have a startup, right? Yeah. That's the way to approach it. You have a startup that is trying to expand into the United States. Having the time to do both is almost impossible as if you're running your own business. So we can take away some of that pain where it comes to the US and give you, sort of boots on the ground support and advice and feedback. And you know, the US, we speak the same language, but we don't. You know, culturally, even from state to state, even within Florida, as an example, you know, Miami is like a microcosm in itself, right? So, you know, Miami has gone bananas in the last 4 years in terms of the number of individuals moving to this city.
Rather than if you're hiring people in the US, it's they live there, they've been there, and this is a career. So that like if that and I found that there's much more of a they're here to build if I'm building a business, I want people that are there to build a business and build a career rather than I'm going there for a lifestyle, if that makes sense. So
they've got the lifestyle anyway. They're
of course.
born and bred in, you know, in Austin, for example, or Texas. This is life for them in a way where, you know, they have to go to work, they have to make money, they have to, you know, fend for themselves and have a career and progress, etc. Whereas I completely understand, and I do agree with you that, you know, an expat will go over to the US, and wherever they are, they've got to, you know, take them 6 months to settle and, you know, get really an understanding of what they want out of it. And then ultimately they want to experience.
You know, once again, it's this, companies have their own KPIs, companies have their own targets, but what I think where you're going to get the best from your team is by working out what their personal goals are. So, you know, money is a big enough motivator, but it's an even bigger motivator when you've got a target that in the event that I hit target this month, I become top biller, then guess what? I'm going to take my kids to Disney World, right? That's an even bigger driving force because, you know, as human beings, we can switch off, we can get lazy. Look, I'm a motivational speaker. The first person I had to motivate was me, right? So I get it as a human being, and we're not robots. And I think once you start realizing that, if you really want to get the best out of people, then you need them to get the best out of themselves. And that's what self-leadership's about. And it's something, the principle that I do in my complete leader maker accelerated growth program. But that's what I do. Bring out the best in individuals. You bring out the best in individuals, you bring out the best in a team. Once you bring out the best in a team, you bring out the best in the sales, and it's cyclic. It's all connected. You know, once again, it's this, companies have their own KPIs, companies have their own targets, but what I think where you're going to get the best from your team is by working out what their personal goals are. So, you know, money is a big enough motivator, but it's an even bigger motivator when you've got a target that in the event that I hit target this month, I become top biller, then guess what? I'm going to take my kids to Disney World, right? That's an even bigger driving force because, you know, as human beings, we can switch off, we can get lazy. Look, I'm a motivational speaker. The first person I had to motivate was me, right? So I get it as a human being, and we're not robots. And I think once you start realizing that, if you really want to get the best out of people, then you need them to get the best out of themselves. And that's what self-leadership's about. And it's something, the principle that I do in my complete leader maker accelerated growth program. But that's what I do. Bring out the best in individuals. You bring out the best in individuals, you bring out the best in a team. Once you bring out the best in a team, you bring out the best in the sales, and it's cyclic. It's all connected.
We've been very much, we've got a West Coast team going this way, we've got an East Coast team going that way, and at some point they meet in the middle, and you know, we're looking for collaboration. Obviously that can get competitive. We don't want to trip ourselves up in pursuit of doing the best work that we can do, so we merged those teams, and that freed me up to then pursue a new brand build out for us that will be able to build on that same infrastructure. So again, able to operate US wide, able to leverage the infrastructure. We've got a fantastic brick and mortar office in New York, able to leverage that infrastructure and now plug in evergreen talent partner sort of colleagues into this kind of pre-built structure. So it's, on one side, it feels like a startup. It's definitely a new brand, but actually we've got an existing business that's been around for 11 or so years, incredibly well practiced. All of the compliance, everything that a business's first pain point is, we've already completed that. For us, it's now about brand awareness, engagement.